Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. युगधर्म हरिनाम संकीर्तन की, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 14, The Forest of Enjoyment, text number 10. So just a prose, I'll just read it. Kvachit sakrit avagata vishaya vaitatyah swayam parabhidhyanena vibramshita smritis tayaiva marichitoya prayam stan evabhidhavati. What word is translation? Kvachit, sometimes. Sakrit, once. Avagata Vishaya Vaityaha, becoming conscious of the uselessness of enjoying material sense gratification. Swayam, himself. Para abhidhyanena, by the bodily concept of the self. Vibramshita, destroyed. Spritihi, whose remembrance. Taya, by that. Eva, certainly. Marichitoya, water in a mirage. Prayan, similar to. Tan, those sense objects. Eva, certainly. Abhidhavati, runs after. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Translation. The conditioned soul sometimes personally appreciates the futility of sense enjoyment in the material world, and he sometimes considers material enjoyment to be full of miseries. However, due to his strong bodily conception, his memory is destroyed, and again he runs after material enjoyment, just as an animal runs after a mirage in the desert. Purport. The main disease in material life is the bodily conception. Being baffled again and again in material activity, the conditioned soul temporarily thinks of the futility of material enjoyment. But he again tries the same thing. By the association of devotees, a person may become convinced of the material futility, but he cannot give up his engagement, although he is very eager to return home back to Godhead. Under these circumstances, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in everyone's heart, compassionately takes away all the material possessions of such devotee. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 10.88.8, Yasyaham anugrahnami harishye taddanam shanai. Lord Krishna says that he takes everything away from the devotee, who he especially favors when that devotee is overly attached to material possessions. When everything is taken away, the devotee feels helpless and frustrated in society, friendship, and love. He feels that his family does not care for him any longer, and he therefore completely surrenders unto the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. This is a special favor granted by the Lord to a devotee who cannot fully surrender to the Lord due to a strong bodily conception. As explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, 22nd chapter, 39th verse, Ami Vigya Yei Murkhe Vishaya Kena Dhiva. The Lord understands the devotee who hesitates to engage in the Lord's service, not knowing whether he should again try to revive his material life. After repeated attempts and failures, he fully surrenders to the lotus feet of the Lord. The Lord then gives him directions, and attaining happiness, he forgets all material engagement. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guruho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padhan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratushe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarobhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripa tamaham vande Shri Gurum Deenataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Mishwaram Hari Om Tat Sat Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Ruttama Shlokher Bhaktir Bhavati Naistike Hare Krishna. Welcome you all for this Bhagavatam class after an intense Nirjala Ekadashi. So definitely everyone did a wonderful austerity and chanted many number of rounds. So definitely Lord would have blessed all of you with such wonderful mercy and blessings. So seeking blessings and prayers of all the devotees who got the fortune of taking the mercy of the Lord to please bless me also so that I can do this service properly for the pleasure of the Lord and the devotees. So if you see in this chapter and even in this previous chapter also, so Shukadeva Goswami is repeating the same thing again and again. Same verses, similar verses, same meaning, exactly, almost the same meaning. So why Shukadeva Goswami is doing again and again, repeating the same thing again and again? So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, the first line, the main disease in material life is the bodily conception. So since this disease is so acute, very strong, so to remove this, so repetition is very, very, very much required. So that's why Shukadeva Goswami also repeating the same thing again and again. So when the spirit soul is in the spiritual world, rendering service to the Lord, somehow he got a desire that he also wants to do enjoyment. He don't want to serve. So becoming envious of Krishna. So he comes to this material world and trying to search happiness. He always feels distress in the search of happiness. Actually, there is no happiness at all. Krishna boli se jeev anadi bhairmukha atayeva maya taradeya samsara dukha. Forgetting Krishna, he's trying to get some happiness in this material world. But instead, Maya gives him all kinds of miseries in this material existence. The translation says, the conditioned soul sometimes personally appreciates the futility of sense enjoyment in the material world. He sometimes considers material enjoyment to be full of miseries. The same thing even Krishna is confirming in Bhagavad Gita 5th chapter verse number 22. Anyone remember? Chapter 5 verse number 22. Yes. Yei samsparshaja bhoga dukkhayo na evate adyanta kaunteya nateshu ramate buddha. So if anyone desires for sense enjoyment, then automatically the consequence is the distress. So even Krishna is telling this. We can see in our day-to-day life also. In 2020, regarding during COVID time, there are many graduates with top scores in their studies, but no job because of COVID. And there are businessmen, there are no customers, they are feeling sad. So they are also understanding this material world is full of miseries. Hmm. And recently, I think a year or before, I'm not sure exactly. So we all went to ICC temple for Brahmachari Sangha. So then immediately I got a call from my relatives that our grandfather who is staying nearby in Bangalore, he left his body. And I also went to see him, see all the things. So dead body is there, and everyone is so much depressed while looking at the dead body. And after that, after some time, so the dead body was taken. It's not a graveyard now. Machines have come. I don't know what it's exactly called, that place. So where the dead body is taken and burnt, and the whatever the ashes will be given directly in the machines full of fire, and the dead body is kept over there. And at that time, all the people, all the relatives who are there, very much distressed how this can happen. So this is also sometimes called smashana vairagya. And very recently, one person came. So he's telling he was a family man. He was telling he's completely distressed of his family life. I thought to enjoy in this family life, but there is no enjoyment at all. So much struggle I'm doing for my own family, but they're not giving me any happiness. They're giving me troubles again and again, again and again. So what is this? So he also understood this. And he told that, Prabhuji, I would like to join the temple. I'm distressed with this material life or family life. But Prabhupada writes, due to strong bodily conception, he again comes after this sense enjoyment. So what is this bodily conception of life? So we can see in Bhagavad Gita 2nd chapter, verse number 62 onwards, it states, so how this enjoyment process starts all in all. Jayato vishayan pumsaha sangasteshopajayate sangat sangataya kamaha kamat krodho vijayate krodho bhavati sammohaha. So that particular sloka says, so when a person looks at an object or sense object, so he develops an attachment and develops lust and then develops anger. And when he gets this anger, so his memory is lost. And completely the intelligence what is there, it is also destroyed. And finally he falls down again into the material pool. Even the understanding this. So in this way we can see the example of Ajamil. So he was a nice Brahmana. He knows all the scriptures, everything. But when he went to the forest to get some wood, so you could see that there is a prostitute embracing a Shudrani. Both are in sexual engagement. And he's able to think all this, though this is not right. But because what to do? Bodily conception is just so strong, he finally fell down. And because memory is lost, the intelligence is also lost to such an extent that he got the prostitute to his home. And the person don't know what he does after that. So then he threw all his family members outside and maintaining the prostitute in the home. And the example which I gave previously, the graduates in the COVID time and the businessman. So they also thought there is a misery in this world. There is no happiness in this world. But everyone thought, and the doctors also telling in the TV news, it is just only for few months. So because we got a vaccination. We got the vaccination. And these family members, which I'm telling relatives, so they also very much distressed looking at the dead body. But after that, coming back home, I was completely amused looking at them. So they are eating hot palav with the sweet. And the wife of my grandmother, she is joyful, nothing, no problem, as if nothing happened. Everyone are laughing, eating happily, no, nothing is it. Only for few moments, yes, there is some distress, that's vairagya came out. I thought for a few days it stays at least. But after looking at that, I understood, not even few hours also. So Maya is so strong, bodily conception is so strong. And they're telling, okay, this goes on, we have to go on with our life. And they're going on. And this person who came here to the temple and is telling so much of distress with the family life. I want to join the temple. I want to become a renunciant. I told, please wait for some time. And after a few months, he came along with his family to the temple. So as usual. So because of this strong bodily conception, one goes back to the sense gratification again. But the solution is only one thing. To get out of this material life. So Srila Prabhupada says this material world is like a prison house. So one may be having a golden prison house, or golden shackles, or silver shackles, or iron shackles. The suffering is there. The solution is to get out of this prison house. So even though this bodily conception is so strong, if one comes by fortune, comes to the understanding that this material world is completely dukkhalayam ashashvatam, and when he takes up the higher goal, come to the practice of spiritual life, understanding what is the goal of life. So what is the purpose? So two ways it can happen. So one, he wants to get liberation from this material world. So he will take up the process of jnana. So read all the scriptures. He always trying to get out of this material world. So even after attaining perfection in the process of liberation, so he can go to the Brahma Jyoti, he can be there. But still he falls down. The famous verse all of us know. Yenya Ravindaksha Vimuktamanina Staya Sakta Bhava Davishuddha Buddhaya Aruhya Krichena Parampadam Tataha Patanti Ato Yushmat Angragayaha. So these people, even though attaining the impersonal Brahma Jyotir, since they have not taken the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, they falls down again. They come back to the material pool of life, material existence. And automatically this service attitude is the nature of a spirit soul. So he renders service. Instead of to the Lord, to the whole society. In the name of altruism and in social service, he engages in this way. So finally he also falls down. And the other way is a person comes directly into the association of devotees. So we see many people, especially during our festival of enlightenment, youth boys come because of some material distress, either not getting job or some breakup. So whatever, they come in the association of devotees and they understand the goal of life is to attain the Lord and nothing else. There is no happiness in this material world. The only happiness is there at the lotus feet of the Lord. So one may come to this conclusion. So by the mercy of the devotees, even this impersonalist or the person who wants to get only liberation, so by the mercy of the devotees, he also may start practicing devotional service. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prabhadyate vasudeva sarvamiti sa mahatma sudurlabha. Even taking number of lives like this, finally he comes to the association of devotees and understand that Vasudeva is everything and I want to serve the Lord. And this both the categories, either the persons who are aspiring for liberation or who wants to get out of this material life and coming in the association of devotees somehow. So traveling all over the universe and even the impersonal Brahma Jyoti falling down. Finally, by the mercy of the Lord and the devotees, he comes in the association of devotees for practicing bhakti. So Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Bhai Bhakti Lata Bij. By somehow this Bhagyavan, the most fortunate person is the one who comes to the association of devotees and practices bhakti. And while after getting the association of, he gets Bhakti Lata, the seed of devotional service. So when one gets seed, what happens? He'll put in the earth and starts cultivating it. But many people forget, so to sow the seed, we have to check whether the earth or the soil is fertile or not. That is what many people miss. And that is what we can learn from Chaitanya Charitamrita. This says how the earth should be fertile. So when Raghunath Das Goswami, so he escaped from his house to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to take the shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Raghunath Das Goswami's parents, so they sent few members to, who is the devotee? Shivananda Sen. They got to know that the party, the devotee party from Bengal, they're going to Orissa to meet the Lord. So these parents of Raghunath Das Goswami also know that when this Raghunath Das, maybe also with the devotees. So please go and check. If you find him, please get him back to the house. So they sent few members and they found and they asked Shivanand Sen, have you found this Raghunath Das? And Shivanand said, no, we didn't find. And they're telling little description of Raghunath Das. He's a great Jamindar. Is there? Have you found? Then Shivananda said, no, we didn't find. So when he comes back, then we'll let you know, please come. So in that context, so Sri Kavi Karnapura, so in his written extensively about the glories of Raghunath Das Goswami, in the Chaitanya Chandrodaya Nataka, he is glorifying the wonderful qualities of Raghunath Das Goswami. So in that context, so one beautiful sloka comes, so the translation goes like this. So because he is very pleasing to all the devotees, Raghunath Das Goswami easily became like the fertile earth of good fortune, in which it was suitable for the seed of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be sown. So what is the success, the secret of success to make the earth fertile is pleasing the devotees. So when a person wants to progress in devotional service or path of bhakti, he has to please the devotees. So by serving them. So whichever way possible. And the devotee, whoever the devotee is, either senior devotee or equal or junior, whoever it is, the thing is we have to please the devotees. And we know from Nectar of Instruction the 6 ways of Priti Lakshanam. So one of the ways, Dadati Pratigrihnati, giving gifts and accepting gifts, giving prasadam and honoring prasadam, taking prasadam from them. So in this way, one can serve the devotees. And we can see the example of Raghunath Das Goswami only, how he pleased all the devotees by serving Chida Dahi. And tomorrow we're going to get the festival. So let's enjoy very nicely. And how this service of the devotee is very, very important. So Vritrasura prays to the Lord. Aham hare tava padaikamula dasanudaso bhavitasmi bhuyah manasmaretasu pater guramste grinitava karma karoti kayah. So he's praying to the Lord. Oh my Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, when will I again be the servant of servants of your devotees who are always engaged in your devotional service? And another statement he says, may I again become their servant so that my mind may always think of your transcendental attributes, my words always glorify those attributes, and my body always engage in the loving service of your Lordship. So you always say, right? I want to engage in the service of the Lord. Kaya, Vacha, Manasa. By my words, by my actions, and my thought process. Everything I want to engage in the service of the Lord. But how can it happen? By the service of the devotees. And that is what even Vritrasur is praying. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, chapter 6, verse number 33. So Srila Prabhupada writes a very strong statement. So where the description of all the 4 varnas of ashram goes on. It's about Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudras. So there Prabhupada writes this strong statement. It is actually better to be a Shudra than to be a Brahmana and not develop the service attitude. Because that service attitude alone satisfies the Lord. So in our context, so I'm just thinking about myself. So what is the use passing many years in devotional service, in the association of devotees, if I don't cultivate this attitude of service? And that is what the Lord likes. This is what Prabhupada writes in the purport. So because of lack of this service attitude, what happens? I want to become master. And this conclusion may come, since I'm not having this service attitude, I always try to become master. And this is what the problem in the association of devotees also. So Prabhupada says that ISKCON will not have any problem from the external influences. If at all ISKCON falls down, so the society goes down, it's only because the devotee is inside. And how we can go on with this movement very nicely? By having this service attitude. So His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Damaswami Maharaj, so he told this once. So a devotee should look at each and every devotee in such a way that this devotee is the one who is going to chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra at the end of my life. So if one has this consciousness, how nicely he serves the devotee. All the time. Oh, this is the devotee who is going to chant Hare Krishna at the end of my death. So he's helping me at the time of my death. So I should serve him nicely. That gratitude mood automatically comes. And there is no question, any problem at that time. So we are hearing from one of the senior devotees, he gave this example. So Gautam Buddha, so he has one ashram. So they are few sannyasis staying together. And these devotees, these sannyasis have some problem along with them. So Gautam Buddha thought to solve this. So he went to those sannyasis and told those ashram residents, he told, see, in four of you, so there is one great soul, great devotee of the Lord. He told this and just left. Then everyone is thinking, oh, maybe this devotee, this devotee, this devotee, this devotee, he's a great devotee. And instead of fighting, they started serving each other so nicely, so happily. And after a few years, Buddha comes to the same ashram and he sees these four people. Now, at that time, there were only four people. Now, the ashram expanded to very great extent. Many people came and take up this renunciant life and serving each other so happily, so happily. So, this is what it also proves, that one should have this mood of service. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Chaitanya Charitamrita can see in the Gundicha Marjan. So, he also personally goes and cleansing the temple very nicely. And after the whole cleansing, all the devotees got prasadam and everyone wants to honor prasadam. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wants to serve all the devotees. He make all the devotees sit down and he wants to serve all the devotees. But none of them are started honoring prasadam. Because all the devotees wants first the Lord to honor prasadam, then they will start. Then the devotees told, oh Lord, please you honor prasadam first, then other devotees will start. Then Mahaprabhu sat down and honored prasadam and other devotees also started. So we can see even from the Lord and the great devotees, this service attitude must be there in the association of devotees. And this service attitude to the devotees, when we please the devotees, that is when the earth becomes fertile. And when the earth is fertile, then we'll plant the seed. And then when the plant is seeded, then we'll pour the water through Shravan and Kirtan, all the Navavida Bhakti. So when we practice devotion service at that time, then the seed starts growing. He starts God's Shraddha, faith, and then he comes into Sadhu Sangha, serving the devotees, and he starts his bhajana kriya, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Uchanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmayadanam. So by rendering this Navavida Bhakti in the association of devotees, he develops a desire that I want to attain Krishna. He develops a desire. So before, all the material desires are there. And because of that distress, he came into the association of devotees. But in the association of devotees, that desire also changes. So before, he is a kami, sarva kama bhakta. Now he becomes a kami. So in this purport, Prabhupada writes this, quotes this, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela 22:39. Ami vigya yei murkha vishaya kena diba. So in this purport, Prabhupada writes, so a devotee may be sarva kami, but the Lord is so merciful, he removes all the material desires and make him a akami. Prabhupada quotes the example of Dhruva Maharaj. So when Dhruva Maharaj started doing this Tivra Tapasya, he attains the Lord. For what? He wants the greater kingdom, greater than his great grandfather, Lord Brahma also. So after looking at the Lord, he was telling that, oh Lord, I have got this nectar. I able to see you directly. So what is the use of these material things? So he was kami before. Then he became akami. So after coming into association of devotees, started practicing bhakti. So our goal changes, our desire changes. So what will be my desire now? To attain Krishna. The desire comes, I want to attain Krishna prema. And how this desire should be? This desire should be intense, not just normal desire, intense greed. That is what Srila Rupa Goswami says in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita Mati Kriyatam Yadi Kutopi Labhyate Tatra Laulyam Api Mulyam Ekalam Janma Koti Sukrute Na Labhyate. So to attain pure devotional service to the Lord, anyone wants to attain Krishna, so you should have this Laulyam. Tatra Laulyam Api Mulyam Ekalam. So one has to pay this price, intense greed to attain the Lord. So if I don't have intense greed, I'm practicing bhakti from many lifetimes also, this life also I will practice without any desire, intense greed. I can attain Krishna. No, we cannot attain Krishna. Even though we have practicing bhakti, doing many pious activities, many lifetimes, we cannot attain the lotus feet of the Lord. The only price is that intense greed must be there. So when that intense greed is there, then a devotee starts attaining Krishna slowly and gradually. But even after getting the desire to attain the Lord, practicing devotional service very nicely, but still the thought of sense gratification lies in the mind. So that is what Prabhupada says in the translation, in the purport. By the association of devotees, a person may become convinced of material futility, but he cannot give up his engagement. Although he is very eager to return home back to Godhead. The person devotee got the desire also to attain Krishna, but still the desire is there in the heart, want to do sense gratification. Then what should be done at that time? So I'm just thinking, while preparing class, I'm thinking about myself. So mostly I don't have service attitude, always try to see the faults in others. So if I find the same thing in the other devotee, finding faults, even I find faults in other devotees, that desire, this devotee is very nice, but still he has this sense gratification desire in the heart, still lying. Then how should I reply for that? How should I think to myself? Then we can see from Krishna himself is telling, Apiche suduracharo bhajate ma mananya bhag sadureva samantavyaha. So as Krishna is telling, even though if a devotee is having some material desires in the heart, but is fixed in his devotional service, determined, so one should consider him as a sadhu. If you are not considering him as a sadhu, then we are doing Vaishnava Aparadha. So when looking at the other devotees, so why Krishna is telling this? Immediate sloka he says, Kshipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat shantim nigacchate kaunteya prajidani name bhakta pranashyate. He is guaranteeing, if he is fixed in his devotional service, determined, even though he is falling down sometimes, but since he is fixed, he will come back to me again. He will not be vanquished. Oh Arjuna, please tell to the whole world. He is guaranteeing this. So this is when I look into other devotees, because my consciousness is that, finding faults. And when I look into myself, even I have so many desires in my heart, material desires. I have the desire to attain the Lord also, but these material desires are torturing me. Then what a devotee's attitude should be there? So Raghunath Das Goswami says this beautiful verse when he is in front of Nityananda Prabhu. He says, praying to Lord Nityananda in the house of Raghav Pandit. He says, Adama pamara moyi hina jiva dama mora icha hoyi pana chaitanya charana. Adama pamara moyi. So I am the most fallen person in the whole world. Moyi, pamara, most sinful person. Jiva dama. The many living entities are there in this world, but I am the most fallen. But oh my Lord, I just want to attain the shelter of Lord Chaitanya. So the desire should not go. The desire should be fixed. But having that attitude that I am so fallen, oh my Lord, but look at me, so fallen so I have so many material desires. You please help me. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu came to those who think or realize themselves, they are most fallen. Patita pavana hetu tava avatara. So if I am not thinking that I am fallen, I am thinking I am the greatest devotee, then Mahaprabhu will say, "Okay, you are greatest, go on with you. Go on. Why should you need my help?" But if a devotee has this attitude of adama pamara, hina jiva dama, thinking himself lower than the lowest, and simultaneously seeking the help of the Lord, then Lord will assure his success. So exactly to this purport, I found one verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, verse chapter 20, 27 and 28. So even if a devotee is very much determined in his devotional service, very much eager to attain the Lord, but still struggling with his material desires, so what should be one's attitude? Many verses are there. So few of them like this. So this is Jata Shraddha Mat Katasu Nirvinna Sarva Karmasu Veda Dukkhatma Khan Kaman Parityajepi Anishwaraha Tato Bhajete Mam Pritaha Shraddhalu Drida Nishchayaha Jushamanas Tan Kaman Dukho Darkamscha Garhayan. So Jata Shraddha, Jata means which is born. Shraddha, what is this Shraddha? Shraddha Shabde Vishwasa ko hi Sudruda Nishchay Krishna Bhakta Karma ko Sarva Karma Krita hoy. So if a devotee has this Shraddha, so by just rendering devotional service to the Lord, all the activities are done, everything is done. So when this Shraddha is established in the heart, and Mat Katasu, this Shraddha in hearing the glories of the Lord, nirvinna sarva karmasu, Veda dukkhatmakan kaman parityajya epi anishwaraha. So by establishing in this faith, by just doing devotional service to the Lord, everything is done. But still having the sensual desires in the heart. He got this faith, Shraddha, but and also the faith that this material sense gratification which is there, it only leads to suffering and nothing else. So he has the faith in both. By rendering devotional service to the Lord, everything is done, and simultaneously he knows by engaging sense enjoyment, so he'll be facing only distress. So having faith on these two topics, having realized that, but still parityaje api anishwaraha tato bhajate mam pritaha. Even still he is facing this difficulty, even understanding, realizing this, is not able to give up the sense gratification desires. Then what he should do? Tato bhajate mam pritaha Shraddhalur Dhrada Nishchayaha Jushamanamscha Tan Kaman Dukho Darkamscha Garhyan. So he should go on with the devotional service with complete faith and conviction. Shraddhalur Dhrada Nishchayaha. So in the purport, it's a huge purport, very beautiful. Prabhupada writes, I just took few points. I'll just read as it is. So what should be the attitude who is struggling with this material desires, but simultaneously wants to attain Krishna? I'll just read it. By my previous shameful life, my heart is polluted with many illusory attachments. Personally, I have no power to stop them. Only Lord Krishna within my heart can remove such inauspicious contamination. But whether the Lord removes such attachments immediately or lets me go on being afflicted by them, I will never give up my devotional service to Him. Even if the Lord places millions of obstacles in my path, and even if because of my offenses I go to hell, I will never for a moment stop serving Lord Krishna. I am not interested in mental speculation and fruitive activities. Even if Lord Brahma personally comes before me offering such attached to material things, I can see very clearly that they lead to no good, because they simply give me trouble and disturb my devotional service to the Lord. Therefore, very important line, I sincerely repent my foolish attachments to so many material things, and am patiently awaiting Lord Krishna's mercy. So in this way, sometimes what happens in other paras, Lord Srila Prabhupada writes that because of this is practicing bhakti, also having the intense desire to attain Lord Krishna also, but still has material desires. He may think, so what is the use of this devotional service? So let me give up. He may deviate from the path of devotional service. Either he may become again materialist, or he will become a mental speculator. So a devotee should not be deviated, feeling disgusted or depressed. So a devotee should not be depressed while rendering devotional service. Instead, he should be very, very sincere. So how a sincere devotee should be? So Prabhupada writes in the same purport. A sincere devotee of the Lord must be sincerely convinced that simply by the strength of devotional service and the mercy of Lord Krishna, he will achieve everything auspicious in life. One must believe that Lord Krishna is all merciful and that he is the only real goal of one's life. Such determined faith combined with a sincere desire to give up sense engagement will carry one past the obstacles of this material world. So basically, a devotee should continue his devotional service happily. That Lord will remove me all these obstacles. So a devotee should be very, very sincere, not having any desire, but not having any attachment to enjoy sense gratification. But desires are popping up. So, but he wants to continue his devotional service. So when the devotee is sincere in such a way, then Krishna takes the charge. Then Prabhupada writes, Yasyaha manugrahanami harishe taddanam shanai tato danam tajantasya swajana dukkha dukkidam. Then Krishna removes all the obstacles, whatever are there in the path of his life. Harishe means the one who takes away everything. So it is also very beautiful purport, this particular verse, Yasyaha manugrahanami. So Prabhupada writes in the first purport, so Krishna takes away everything. And we know, I think, Purushottam Mas, we sing that song, right? Chaura, Brajay Prasidam. So in that one of the line, so Bilvamangal Thakur writes, so Krishna takes away everything. He takes away my sinful reactions also. A devotee sinful reaction. So Harisha means he takes away. What and all he takes away? Devotee sinful reactions. So one of the main obstacle in the devotee's life is whatever sinful activities he has done, all the bad habits he has done, he gave up, but still those will be popping up. So in 728, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, until unless one comes out of this sinful reactions, he cannot do Dhrida Bhakti with a strong determination. So one should be away from these sinful reactions. So that Krishna is telling, I will take away those sinful reactions. And he says, he quotes Srila Rupa Goswami. What is that verse? Aprarabdha phalam te phalam papam kutam bhujam phalon mukam. So he says, basically in that sloka says, aprarabdha prarabdha kutam bijam. So the desire to do sense gratification, the tendency to do sense gratification, and also the actions which were done previously and which are about to manifest, and which are already manifested. So all these four activities or the karmic reactions, Krishna will remove it. So Prabhupada gives the analogy of a lotus flower. So just like a lotus flower loses one leaf after the another, so one petal after another. So similarly, Krishna removes all his sinful reactions one by one. So that is what Harisha means. And what is just removing sinful reactions, but also Krishna gives troubles. So why Krishna is giving troubles? So what is the need? So what happens when a devotee is suffering because of some struggles given by the Lord? What happens? He will finally take the shelter of the Lord. So complacency is one of the difficulty or obstacle in the devotional path of a devotee. So when a devotee is completely complacent, so he will not have intense desire to go on in the practice of bhakti. So that's why sometimes Krishna also gives some obstacles so that a devotee will not forget the Lord and completely take the shelter of the Lord. And this is what we can see even in Kunti Maharani 1:825. She was asking for more and more troubles. Oh Lord Krishna, please give me more and more troubles so that I can remember your lotus feet. Sometimes devotees may say this, that I am practicing bhakti. Krishna himself is guaranteeing in the scriptures that if I practice bhakti, I will be relieved of all the material contamination. But still, why I am suffering this? Why I am suffering? Why I am suffering? Or the other way. So Krishna is giving this. Actually, the struggle is because of our mind, our previous sinful activities and bad habits. That is what is propping up, and that is what I am struggling to. But still, if your devotee asks, I am not struggling, I am doing bhakti nicely, that Krishna is the one who is giving this. So what is the reason for this? What is the reason? In the last purport of this verse, so Srila Prabhupada writes very nicely, lamp light appears attractive in darkness, nor in the glaring light of a day. And when one is distressed by hunger, food tastes especially good. So similarly, or in other words, to strengthen his devotee's mood of dependence on him and longing for him, the Lord arranges for his devotees to go through some suffering. And when he appears in order to deliver them, their gratitude and transcendental pleasure are boundless. So basically, why Krishna is giving this suffering? Just to increase the longing and dependence of a devotee on the Lord. So we can see the example of Narada Muni. He has little attachment to mother. She wants to practice bhakti, but what to do? So Krishna took away the mother of Narada Muni also. And in one of the translation, Krishna says, so he gets the darshan of the Lord also in the heart. And immediately Krishna vanishes immediately. Then Narada Muni starts crying, why I am not able to see you again? Oh my Lord, please. Then Lord says, I just want to increase your eagerness to attain me. Increase your eagerness. So that is why when even we also practicing devotees, even we suffer some troubles while rendering devotional service. So one can develop this attitude, it is given by the Lord. So for my benefit, so that I can depend more on Him, I can long, I can anchor Him with a strong eagerness. And in that verse, yes, where Krishna is telling he'll take everything. In this purport, Prabhupada writes, only a mature devotee can understand this. That whatever troubles I'm getting, it's given by the Lord. Only a mature devotee can tell this. So he gives the analogy that when a child engages in his playful activities, but father thinks, so he's playing the whole day. So his age is also passing. So I have to send him to the school for his bright future. So this is the love exchange of a father to his son. But a child may not understand this, but it is best for his future. So similarly, a mature devotee can understand this. The Lord is telling, Lord gives some troubles in the life of a devotee, but it is in the best interest of a devotee. But only a mature devotee can understand this. Immature person, he'll complain to the Lord. Oh Lord, why you are giving me so many troubles? I want to get out of it. Only a mature person can understand this. Then after understanding all this, then what should be the complete final attitude of the devotee? That I want to come out of this material world. I want to render pure devotional service to Krishna. But I'm being struggled with these material desires. So what should be done? Then this famous verse we know. Brahma is praying to the Lord, 10:14-8 Srimad Bhagavatam. Tattenu kampam susamikshmano bunjanayevatma kritam vipakam hridvagavapurbe vidadan namaste jiveta yo muktipade sadhaya bhak. So I have to just suffer whatever sinful activities I have done. I just continue my suffering. But with body, mind and soul, I just want to pay obeisances, render pure devotional service to the Lord. I just want to attain the Lord. Simultaneously suffering whatever the reactions of his past misdeeds. If a devotee has this attitude, then he'll become the rightful claim of the kingdom of the Lord. Sadhaya bhak. So what a person in the family life. So his father is a great billionaire or millionaire. So automatically he is the higher of the whole kingdom. He gets. So, but what should a person do? He just should be alive in devotional service in his family. That's it. Automatically he get the property of his ancestors. So similarly, a devotee should be just alive in devotional service, not to get deviated because of problems being faced, because of the sense desires he is being troubled. I'm struggling, getting trouble with so many sensual desires, I'll give up. What is the use of devotional service? Or take up in a speculative mood, getting into mental speculation. So one should not deviate it, but should stay in devotional service in the association of devotees and practicing this attitude. I just want to render pure devotional service to the Lord, offering his respectful obeisances, simultaneously suffering all the suffering which I have to go through because of my previous activities. And one has this attitude, then automatically he will become the rightful claim of the kingdom of the Lord. So I'll just like to summarize what and all we have discussed. So we have discussed from the purport and the translation that sometimes people may also get this realization that this material world is complete full of miseries, dukkhalayam. And after getting that realization, some may go on the path of liberation, wants to get out of this material world. And even after getting liberation, they again fall down. But there are a few fortunate people who come in the association of devotees and take up the process of devotional service, changes their desire. I don't want to get liberation also, I just want to render pure devotional service to the Lord. Intense eagerness to attain the Lord. Even started practicing devotional service in the association of devotees, but still there are many sensual desires in the heart. So to get out of it, so what one should do? So to pray to the Lord in this way, oh Lord, I just want to get out of it. I want to render pure devotional service unto you but still I'm facing so many desires that are troubling in my heart. So keep rendering devotional service with full enthusiasm and love to the Lord. And Lord will do the rest. So with this, I would like to conclude today's discussion. If there are any questions, comments, we can take. Any corrections? We can take reflections.
Hare Krishna. So it is very wonderful class, Prabhuji. You have mentioned and proper white lies, good analysis of this purport you gave. The important point that I liked in this whole discourse is the Krishna sends obstacles in the path, in the devotee's path. It's not like that Krishna will make a bed of roses for us, but yes, he will spread this path because he wants us to come very very quick. So when our problems are coming, instead of complaining, then we should thank to Krishna that Krishna is personally looking at me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu, for the nice class. So we should cultivate service attitude, because without that, we'll not be able to advance in bhakti. That is very, very important, as you mentioned. And also, to attain Krishna, that intense greed to attain Krishna should be there. Just like that, performing devotional service might take us to some extent, but then without the intense greed, laulyam, one cannot attain Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, bro. There were very wonderful points were there in the class. So one of the point was like attitude of the devotee should be like whatever suffering like he's getting. So he should not give up the devotion service and wait for the mercy of the Lord. The and the, that is the one. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, bro. Thank you for the nice class. And this the first point you mentioned regarding pleasing the devotees. That in order to make the earth fertile or ourselves fertile for the seed Bhaktilata beach to be sown, we have to please all the devotees, serve all the devotees, and then the land becomes, earth becomes fertile. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, bro. So you told nice point that we should do faithfully doing service, devotional service, that 9 processes, and by desire, pure desires, so intense desire to get Krishna, then the devotee will start getting Krishna's mercy. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, very nice class. So first you are mentioning about how the bodily conception of life is very very strong, and the miseries of this material world, and how even though we by seeing the death of some relative we may feel like sudden renunciation, but again the bodily conception of life is very very strong, that again we engage in the same sense gratification, sense enjoyment. And also you mentioned that okay, we have to have the intense greed to attain Krishna. Without that, we cannot progress much. And also you told when we want to advance in Krishna consciousness, but we have so many sense gratificatory desires or contamination in material in the heart. So for that we have to pray to the Lord, so that then we can progress.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I can see myself like the example of that one person who came to meet you saying all the family problems and then again getting back to family. So I am like that case somewhat. So the main reason is lack of association of devotees, and I like the point that pleasing the devotees will fertile our ground for advancing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. And Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srimad Prabhupada ki jai.